Hello guys, in this video I will continue this character where we left off last time. If you haven't already watched the first part of this course, which is the Blockout video, I highly recommend you watch it. So you can also check out my ArtStation store and buy some products to support me. So let's begin sculpting. So in the last video we sort of block out this whole character, and in this video we will continue it by merging all this part and smoothing it out, and we will also start sculpting the head. And what I usually do is I block out the whole character first. This I have mentioned multiple times on my videos, and now I have to see the proportions and match it with the reference we got here. And I have noticed suddenly that the feet of this character are somehow bigger in the reference, while in our sculpt it is smaller. So I will just mark this part of the speed by holding Ctrl Shift and clicking, and Ctrl Shift and dragging to invert the selection, and I will just mask it out. I will go back with Ctrl Shift and click and just invert the mask and click on it and just smooth scale this fit a little bit, just a little bit, just to match the reference. Maybe pull it out again. Okay, now, and I can see that the hands needs to be bigger too, so just control and tab to mask it out and mask it out. We don't need to mask the hands. I will just click on this. I'm hitting W to open the gizmo and clicking on this map icon. Okay, I don't know what it is called, and just position the gizmo and just scale the hands a little bit so I can see it from the first. Okay, because I need to see the silhouette first, like I mentioned in the finding appealing video. Here it is the silhouette, and I am just seeing that this character look interesting in the silhouette as well. Now then, I am satisfied with the silhouette and the forms at the moment. I will be adding a lot of parts like the nose and cavities of the mouth, the tongue, but before that I merge all these parts together. And to merge it, I don't use Dynamesh, okay, because these parts are in dynamic subdivision. If you hit D and you just say yes, if you go to geometry, you would see the dynamic subdivision part. It is on. You can turn it off, on and off by clicking it here or hitting just D and shift D onto your canvas. What I'll do to merge is, I don't Dynamesh it. I will use ZRemesh by union, which is from this gizmo gear icon, and for that I would have to apply the subdivision level, okay, and delete the lower, because we can't merge it if we have the subdivision levels. So delete it lower, and now it is one mesh having 30k points and without any level subdivision level. So I will just hit control, I will just hit W and open the gear icons. Remember, what I usually do is I turn off the symmetry if I am remeshing by union, because it just messes up sometimes if the symmetry is on. So turn off the symmetry and click this remesh by union, and it will just stitch all these parts together. I have mentioned this on my previous videos as well, and just click this gear again and accept. Now it merges it without messing the part or without messing the whole smoothing out the whole character. Okay, now, and we will just smooth it this part out. Okay, and we can also ZRemesh it, but before that I will just merge this other parts. Okay, and for that I would have to, for example, select the head, apply subdivision level, delete lower, okay, and just Again same procedure, click this gear icon, turn off the symmetry and remesh by union. Okay, the symmetry was on. This was something I was talking about earlier. Just go back, undo it and turn off the symmetry. Again same procedure, click this gear icon and remesh by union. Alright, and it is stitch these parts together. I will do with the, what do we call it, ears as well. And just apply dynamic subdivision, delete lower, turn off the symmetry and remesh by union and accept it. Okay, now either we can just use Dynamesh with the keep groups on. It will just do the ZRemesh. If we use the ZRemesher with the keep groups on, it will just ZRemesh it, keeping those nice polygroups. Okay, I will just select the target polygons 0.5, ZRemesher, keep groups. Okay, you can also go to geometry, ZRemesher. I've just set the UI here and just hit ZRemesher. As you can see, it ZRemesh very cleanly, and we now have a clean mesh. And just smooth it out this part. Okay, now for the shirt and the legs, on our concept the feet are separate from this black legs, so we will just separate it. We have already marked the leg when we were scaling it, and split hidden. I will just click split mask point. If you go to subtool and select split by mask points, and it is split, it will check the mask on your mesh and split accordingly. Now we have the foot separately here, and we will just do the same. I will apply it, the dynamic subdivision, delete lower and turn symmetry off, hit gear icon, remesh by union, and you can also hit target polygon to 5 and hit ZRemesh. It's the same boring procedure again and again, but it is the clean process. And if you just apply this workflow on every of the models, it will be easier and comfortable for you. Have cleanness on your mesh. Okay, this stylized work is all about the silhouette, the forms and this cleanness, and this workflow of ZRemesh by union is far by the cleanness. I will just do the adjustment because I can see in our concept the legs are thinner there. Okay, just spin around the model from all angles and try to just match this silhouette. Okay, now, and this part I will merge this part later because I might have to adjust the arms a little bit, but for now let's begin sculpting our character. Alright, now it has already stitched it with the ZRemesher. What we could do is either we can just ZRemesh it, but what I usually do while sculpting organic forms, I use Dynamesh. Whenever it is the cloth or the forms I need it to be clean, I use ZRemesh by union, but to sculpt I always use Dynamesh. It is faster that way. Okay, so go to Dynamesh, it is the Dynamesh, and just hit Dynamesh, and we have the, if I press shift F, the mesh is Dynamesh. I use clay brush, okay, and turn the RGB off. And just at the moment I'm just thinking about making the cavities of the eyes. Okay, I will just hold Alt and just make the cavities of the eyes. Nothing too crazy, okay, just cavities. You can always change the shape of the eyes and just like that. make it thinner, and the proportions are very important. And same with the mouth, we just have to make it a hole of the mouth. We can always adjust it with the move brush. Just ZBrush again, Dynamesh again, turn blur off if you can, because it just turn the smoothness off while Dynameshing. I always like to retain my forms while Dynameshing it. Okay, now we have made the cavities of the eyes and the cavities of the mouth. Now all we need is to use the move brush and adjust those forms and just break the symmetry. I don't usually break symmetry at this early stage, but our concept and character demands it. So his left eye is smaller than his right eye. There is always time for the refinement later. All I am trying to do is blocking out every major part of the character, because at this moment I'm only worrying about putting all the elements on this character together. If we look at from the side, we need to fix some proportions and the position of the head itself. His cheeks will be go through like this, and his mouth will be protruding quite ahead, and his eyes will go backwards. If you have studied the skull, you would see what I am trying to do. Just undoing it and doing with the symmetry. Okay, now just now on our concept, the cheekbones, what I usually see on my concept is, if I bring up my concept, I could see that his cheekbones are protruding out and there is sort of a curve on his mouth, and we haven't placed the nose yet because the nose will play a vital role first. But first I really need to just fix that mouth. Most of the time, if the resolution is too high and for me I am struggling to use the move brush, so I will just switch to the half of the dynamic resolution. Alright, now all I am trying to do is get that cheekbone right. I just need to make sure that those cheekbones need to be placed. As you can see, we have to fix the character from all angles. If you have the match from all angles, then it's your big win, because it will save you a lot of trouble. Alright, I will just add a quick nose here. I am using the MM3DCW by Shane Olson. I will just click and drag it out, split mask point, which you will find on the sub tool, and masking and split mask point. Where it is, if you go to sub tool and split, you will see the split marks, unmasked and masked point. Okay, now I will just opening the gizmo and holding this green, click and dragging this green drag will just trim this part. It is very amazing little feature, and it really helps a lot and I'm trying to just make the planar surface. Alright, now I'm just using lasso and trying to block out the nose. Okay, just the major form of the nose, so I can just place it. As usual, I will come back with all these parts, okay, and I will just fix them later. At the moment, I'm only thinking about placing the nose and all other major parts together. I still have to add the tongue as well. Alright, just keep it low poly until you are satisfied completely. Now then, I am just adding the nose here. I am just using Khatri pinch, which is the pinch brush having lazy radius turned to 30. Alright, now if I want, I can add the tongue as well, and for the tongue I will use the same primitive, which is the sphere, and again split mask point, and this time I will use a feature which is a very handy feature for bending the meshes. You can create horns and other stuff like this. I will just twist the tone with this tool. So all you have to do is first make it longer, no matter if it's a cube or a sphere or any part of the mesh which is this narrower and straight. Okay, now I will, while the gizmo is open, I will just click on this gear icon and click bend curve. If you haven't checked out the videos of bend curve I made, I even made the video on all of the deformers. You should check it out, explain one by one, and I have also made a short explaining the bend curve. So I will just click on it and switch to bend curve, and now I will, these small dots will let me drag from one end to another. Alright, and I will just increase the increment, which is this orange cone, and to 3. Alright, now I will just use this dot and drag it out. Because of this dot is on the middle of the tongue, it will just hold the place together. I can also use the anchor brushes, which has come with the ZBrush 2023 point, I think it's 2, but I didn't like anchor brush much. These are amazing tools, no doubt, but I still am have yet to practice that. So I'm just blocking out the tongue, and what I could do is select this cone and just scale it up a little bit. There is a cone for the scale as well, and just scale it up a little bit. Okay, and as you can see how quickly I have made the shape of the tongue like in our concept. Now all I need to do is place them properly. I can also scale that part of the tongue down by clicking it here and just scale where it is the scale, and here is the squeeze, here is the, where is the scale, just isolating this part, here is the scale, and just drop it down, just squeezing it. So we have our main shapes of the tongue as well. Maybe I have scaled it too much. Okay, now there is one disadvantage of using the bend curve, which is if you move the mesh from this angle, for example, or this angle, then you won't have that bend curve feature. It won't be able to detect the end and start point of your mesh. So just block out the main shapes with this bend curve tool, then use move brush. This is what I usually do. Alright, and just using the gizmo tool to just placing the tongue together. This part of the sculpt is usually very demotivating, because all you need is to make it look good, and at the moment it is quite looking really bonky, but this is a blockout. Okay, and my main goal is to just block out the main shapes first. Here you could see our concept. There is a certain type of jaw beneath that face, and we have sort of removed that jaw because that cheek will go over from jaw to the upper mouth as well, and this part here we need to make it a lower jaw. Okay, just keep it dynamashing. Okay, always keep dynamashing. This is a blockout stage. When I'm done with all the little details, okay, I will just switch back to the ZBrush because ZBrush is easier to work with. I don't go on using very high dynamash unless I'm in need. For example, the usually the 3D print stuffs I usually dynamash on very high poly. Okay, now it is still not looking very appealing, and I'm sort of trying to fix that. You are using now there is certain element which I'm still yet to add is are the hairs on his backside, and for that I will use the IMF again and just split it out with marks point and just place it, and I need to place them on the back side of his head. Okay, on the back side of the head. Again, it is just a blockout. I am not going too crazy for it, and just a blockout. Okay, nothing too crazy. And this part needs to be just using the I need to maintain the silhouette from the front and as well as the back side of the face, because often you will see yourself struggling maintaining the silhouette from one side and it will just mess up the other. But fake it till you make it. There is no shortcut way going through this. Alright, no shortcut way going through this. Just maintain those anatomical forms, and just all I'm using is the move brush. Okay, and we will come back to this part and refine it, just dynamashing it. Just using the proportions. I need to fix the I will use the transpose master plugin this time. Just go to Z plugin and use transpose master and hit T mesh, and I will just first of all isolate this part. Okay, this part as well. I will just push this part using the symmetry a little bit inside. Let me see what I'm trying to do. Okay, because proportions are very important. I will just go back to the original stage by clicking T pose sub T. There is also a new feature came with the ZBrush 2023 which is called proxy tool, which I really like it, but I prefer T pose mesh over it, because what I usually my work consists of many subtools, and proxy video doesn't really respect that. They just you can only use it on the mesh. If I am don't know correctly. They really need to add the option to have the all subtools placed into one like this plugin does, because it is very inconvenient. Usually there are a lot of subtools together and we just don't work on a single mesh, and like that I'm also using this method or workflow you can call it, and just the video has gotten very long, and I really need to see the anatomical details. Okay now we have blocked out the major part of the shape. Okay, I need to just the last step I will just need to do is just move this part above, move this part out, make it look like it is the part of the hair. Or we will come back to this part, okay, and we will just try to fix it, detail it in the next video, because at the moment I just won't need to wind up the video. It has gotten really long. I am not making it a time lapse because I want it to be a live video, sort of a not time lapsey one. Okay guys, and we can just increase the dynamic resolution to 48 and just detail it later on our next video, because we still need to fix the silhouette and make it interesting, and just keep looking back forward on your concept and your match. It just really helps see the mistake. So this is it guys, I'm winding up the video here, and you could see we have done a lot. We have sculpted the head and still it needs a refinement over it. We have blocked out the tongue as well, and slowly we will just create this whole character. All it needs is a little bit tweaking. Proportion needs to be correct for some detailing, and I still have to add the eyes. And in the next video I will add polypaint onto our mesh, because it is my habit to use polypaint at its earliest stage, because it helps read the character, and you would see how the polypaint will bring the personality on this character. So guys, if you haven't checked out the first part of this video, if you haven't checked out my store as well, buy those products and support me if you want, and it really helps if you support it. I will see you on the next video. Please follow along sculpting from this tutorial. It's good that you watch the whole thing, but without putting into practice you won't be able to progress it much faster compared to just practicing and watching the video. So watch the video and sculpt with me. No matter how bad your sculpt looks, just post it on my group, tag me, and I will give you a personal feedback. See you on the next video. Take care.